All right, Moonglade, this is it, a best of 5, the winner bracket finals. The winner of this is going into the grand finals and has his chance to be the overall champion of Dreamhack for 2014 and win up to $30,000.
That is so much money.
Oh my God.
It is ridiculous. And what a match we have. Starting things off, it is going to be on merry-go-round here. So pretty interesting map. I think this kind of definitely favors ForGG, I have to feel.
I have to agree with you on that. And taking game number 1 in a StarCraft best of 5 is huge. But we'll get more into that in just a moment. First, let's go ahead and introduce these players. Down in the middle, bottom spot of merry-go-round, give it up for Millennium's ForGG. And his opponent in the top right, an absolute dominating force, the current world champion. It is Startail Life.
Only winning his championship only a couple of weeks ago. So still in very good form, it seems. I mean, so far he has shown nothing but dominance in this tournament. And can he do it again against ForGG on a pretty interesting map, considering we know ForGG's playstyle. He loves to go a lot of Hellions. He loves to go Banshees with it. He likes to go mech as well.
Yeah, that's right. I would love to see some mech here. But before we get too much into exactly which strategies they're going to use, Moonglade, you were saying before this should favor ForGG. Why don't you go ahead and explain why?
Indeed it should, because it pretty much comes down to the map layout. We have, as you can see, the fourth base. It's quite an awkward place to have a fourth base on any side. It's either going to be near the middle or it's going to be far away. So both are very, very hard to defend against any kind of Terran push onto the map, because it's so hard to spread creep out there, which is the #1 thing you want to use against Terran, so you can get the perfect engagements, you can get decent surrounds, etc. And I mean, even the drop space in this map as well can also create a bit of a problem here. But we'll have to wait and see exactly what ForGG's plan is going to be here.
Well, if there is one Zerg in the world that really can go ahead and ignore map imbalances, can ignore the hard things on maps, that's probably going to be Life, to be honest. He knows how to mix up his play. He knows how to do something completely out of the norm and switch a seeming disadvantage into an advantage for himself, at least momentarily.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. A little bit of delay here.
We'll get back into that game just momentarily. We do have our wonderful ref in there helping out ForGG at the moment. I gotta say, this tournament so far, it's been one of the stranger Dreamhacks.
It has been.
I've been to and watched so many Dreamhacks, pretty much all of them.
I think it would have to be all of them.
Yeah, this is like, we have such a ridiculously high skill level at this tournament. Like, every player is such a badass that we've seen 3-0. 3-0, 3-0.
It's actually unbelievable how many one-sided matches we've seen, how quick these best of 5s have gone yesterday.
Well, it looks like this game is just about ready to get back into it, guys, so don't worry about that. We'll be right back into it. And but yeah, it's been super one-sided. We'll see if that continues here. I really don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. And you know, I think ForGG definitely has one of his best chances on this map. As I explained before, it is a pretty hard map to have a bit more of a macro game, but as we know, Life quite occasionally does not like to have a macro game at all. It likes to go for the kill very, very quickly on here.
You are quite right about that, Moonglade. We'll see if he does any quick rushes in this game. Looks like he's opened up with a fast expansion and going into gas pretty quickly, probably for some Zergling speed.
Indeed, indeed, it does look like that. And I mean, we're seeing ForGG, I mean, go straight off the bat, going for that faster factory here. He wants to get those Hellions out pretty quickly. And there it goes down. Going for the Marine straight off the bat, so he doesn't want to go for a Reaper anytime soon. He doesn't want to scout, he just wants to get those Hellions on the map, get that map control, and look for damage early on.
Hey, I like it, to be perfectly honest, Moonglade, because right now, everyone goes Reaper. Reaper is such a popular opening against Zerg, but the thing is, Life knows exactly how to play against Reaper. You have to throw him some curveballs here. He's way too good to die to anything normal. And you guys were all saying before we started here, ForGG has his own style. He marches the beat of a different drum. And if he wants to win this series, he's got to do something special.
And he is doing it. He's kind of more of an older build against, I guess, these days, going for that kind of one racks into factory of one gas and getting a very, very early reactor. He even built the factory right next to the command center, so no Zerglings, nothing could really scout it early on. I really like that. And yeah, as you were saying, it is a super standard build going for that Reaper early on, and it's never going to really do anything these days. It's just pretty much comes down to scouting the Zerg early.
Yeah, this is about the latest expansion that I've seen in a TVZ in quite some time, Glade. This should throw life off a little bit, but his Zergling will pop up and check and see, oh wow, that's a very quick factory.
Yeah, he's going to know exactly what kind of build it is now. And I kind of really like this build as well, considering how aggressive we saw Life against Tasia. He went for a very early Ling Bane aggression. And I mean, if you have a decent count of Hellions on the map with some Banshees, even a Medivac, I mean, that's going to do a lot of damage. It looks like it will be okay. Hellbats. Nice choice as well, a one-base Hellbats.
Yeah, getting an armory up to be able to transform these into Hellbats. A very strong unit indeed against Zerg, but right now he's trying to run in. Beautiful micro there by Life, surrounding with his Zerglings, using the Queens for a flank, and killing off 2 Hellions off of a single base.
Did not take a single point of damage on any drone there, which is exactly what ForGG was looking for. Beautiful micro from Life. He knew exactly what was up. He's already on top of it.
Well, right now, Life is trying to get in here and see what's going on. Sees that, in fact, well, there's a starport, there's the factory still there, the barracks with a tech lab add-on. He's got to be looking at this and saying, ooh, this is pretty aggressive. Still no expansion.
Yeah.
He's going to have to defend as best he can.
He is. And I mean, that is a pretty late Baneling nest as well. So I'm kind of getting worried here for Life. I mean, you have a look at his natural here to kind of get a true idea of his setup, but I don't think he's really going to have much to defend against this.
Well, we'll see. 4 Hellbats. They have been transformed. Going up with these Marines and the Medevac. He's got a lot of healing potential here. Pushing forward. Life targeting down that Medevac. A bunch of Zerglings coming in, surrounding absolutely everything. Some nice micro by ForGG pulling back. He does pick off that Medevac and, in fact, will clean up this attack.
Wow. Very nicely done there from Life. A beautiful surround, and I think the biggest mistake in that one, engagement was the Hellbats were attacking Queens and not Zerglings. Zerglings got to maximize their damage. And after that, there was nothing left. So Life taking a huge lead here, and ForGG, he's still on one base.
Oh, yeah, this is getting a little bit tough. Life right now has started the Spire, looking to go into Mutalisk Tech. And if he gets to Mutalisk Tech, I think there's no chance for ForGG. So he's going to have to do some severe damage before then.
Yeah, he's going to be looking for drone damage. He's going to be looking for Hellion run-bys and that Cloaked Banshee. But, I mean, as you said, Spies on the way. That means the lair is up. That means there's Overseers to scout this invisible Banshee. And I don't think anything is going to get done from here.
You might be right about that. Already an Overseer coming over that cloak going to be useless. And in fact, will he even cancel the cloak? No, it looks like he does let it finish. But it's not helping here because he can see it anyways.
Life is just ready for everything this game. And we see some more Hellbats at the front here, but 3 Banelings looking for that perfect hit.
And in fact, some Zerglings coming up from behind as well, circling around these Hellbats. With the help of another Hellion, he will clean this up. But everything is being destroyed. Life is holding on just fine. And GG! A very quick game number 1. ForGG trying to win this game with some early aggression through a lot of tech units. But Life holds on beautifully.
Yeah, just some next level hyper aggression there from ForGG. Just such an interesting one-base kind of style. And Life was completely ready for it. I mean, 2-base Muta was the perfect response. It was going to just counter everything, and it was kind of just surviving until then. And he took the fights he needed to do. He got the Baneling Nest in time for anything else that came, and yeah, perfect play from Life so far.
Yeah. You know, ForGG did make the little mistake of losing those first 2 Hellions. I think that was a big deal. If those had been 2 more Hellbats in his main army when he attacked, it would have been a much more effective attack. So some slight, tiny mistakes here from ForGG, and Life just picking up on him. That's exactly how he does it.
Absolutely. So, next map, going to be Deadwing Ladder Edition. Not a bad map to follow things up here. I think we could definitely see ForGG do work on this map as well.
Indeed. You know, I think that, you know, this is one of our biggest maps in the whole map pool. In fact, I would go ahead and say it is the biggest map.
Yeah, that is safe to say.
Yeah. Now, there's 2 ways that you can spawn positions. You can either be vertically above and below each other, or you can be cross-map. Now, if it's cross-map, that's very hard for Terran to actually walk over and kill the Zerg player, because the walk is just so long. You have to go over so much creep, and the Zerg has a lot of time to react.
Exactly. Zerg has a lot of time to set up their base, to set up the defenses, and kind of just turtle and wait for the Terran to come to him, whereas vertical spawns, it's a straight path down. There's a Xel'Naga tower in between, so once the Terran has control of that, they have a huge advantage in terms of seeing everything. And yeah, from there, it's just a simple parade push downwards if he desires. So it's a lot harder. It puts a lot more pressure on the Zerg. So that's pretty much what this map comes down to, those spawning positions early.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting. But the thing is, ForGG, the way he played that last game, he's kind of ignoring the way that the maps work. Like, that isn't a build made specifically for Merry-Go-Round. That's just, the build that we just saw from him was just a very aggressive build. He thought he could catch Life off guard. It didn't work this time. But if he gets those hard spots, he can do another build like this that kind of ignores the fact that Life is so far away.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Well, we'll see. We're going to get this going in just a moment, guys. A great tournament so far. Getting better every moment here. ForGG, I think he has to win here. If he loses this game...
If he loses this game here on Deadwing of all maps, I think he's in huge trouble for the series, and we might see him go down in a quite possible 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Life has done a lot of those in this tournament so far. And if you start out 0-2, I think that the psychological advantage for Life is just going to be huge. He's going to be like, oh, another easy 3-0. And meantime, you're like, oh my God, am I not even going to win a single game against this guy?
Yeah, especially after that first game. It's just a little too one-sided, and Life was just a little too ready for him. It must be disheartening.
Indeed it is. Well, it looks like we're ready to get into this game. Game number 2 between ForGG and Life. Down in the bottom right of Deadwing for Team Millennium. Make some noise for ForGG. And his opponent in the top left, recently winning the World Championships of StarCraft 2. Make some noise for StarTale Life.
Now, it did end up being those cross-map positions. So I would give the advantage to Life, unless Life was planning to be aggressive on this map. It's going to be very hard for either player, and much, much easier to go into mid-game for both. And yeah, I don't feel we're going to see the same kind of style for ForGG on this map, especially.
Yeah, I don't think you'd see that here. I think that the bases are just so far away. The odds of it working would go down significantly. So probably going to see a different type of strategy. Wouldn't be surprised if we see him get into more than one base this game for sure.
Wouldn't it be fun if we saw Mech on this map? It is actually, it's a kind of a great map for Mech because of how easy it is to hold those 4 bases. As you can see in every kind of corner of the map, there is 4 bases kind of close to each other, so it is easy to kind of set up shop there, defend everything from all angles, and from there, you can kind of push out once you have that big Mech ball that you look for in the late game.
You're quite right about that, Moonglade. I would love to see Mech on this map. I think it's something that Life could have a very hard time dealing with. But to start out the game, both players taking very fast expansions, a command center first versus a hatchery first, and then right into gas.
Okay. I like this a lot. A good choice from ForGG. As you saw in last game, Life was playing pretty defensive. Life wasn't really going to go on the offensive at all. Life kind of knew he had to just absorb whatever ForGG was going to do because ForGG has his own kind of style in this matchup. He has his own way of thinking, and it completely makes sense.
We'll see where he wants to go from this. Obviously going to be going for a fast factory by the speed of that gas. In the meantime, I suppose Life will probably get quick Zergling speed. One of the most important upgrades in the entire game.
Especially for Life, because Life always finds a way with his Zerglings every single game. Run-bys are just what he does, and he does it so well. So, yeah, he wants to take map control at around 6 minutes, or at least fight the Hellions early on here. It's always a good idea. I think it's a perfect idea, especially against ForGG, to go for that kind of fast link build, because there's, as we saw last game, 2 Hellions tried to sneak by very early on.
Yeah, if he hadn't had those 4 lings in position, the Hellions would have gotten into the main base, maybe killed a few drones, gotten some great scouting done, and given ForGG an edge. So Life is really a player that relies on his Zerglings, and we see already he is getting that Zergling speed, so he should be able to be very active on the map.
Once again, we do see that factory play from ForGG. Wants to go into this Hellions, take map control. A good idea on this map, you want to try and stop the creep spread as best as possible because it is a very hard map to spread creep on. It is simply so big. It's going to take so long to get creep to even near the middle of this map. And of course, you want to kind of try and identify what Life's plan is going to be as well. Is it going to be some super aggressive Ling Baneling build like we saw him do against Tasia? Or is he going to go for a third base? He's going to go back into Muters and Ling and Bane and play a more standard mid game.
Well, right now, it looks like Life is going to make a little group of Lings, making about 8 Lings right now. And trying to harass just lightly at the expansion of ForGG, just kind of slowing him down. Whereas ForGG looks like he's going to be going into Banshee Hellion.
Banshee Hellion, yep. I think this is perfectly... I expected this from ForGG. That's what I'm trying to say here. It makes complete sense here. And Zerglings are going to get a little bit of harassment here. He might actually pick up 2 kills.
Wow, killing 2 SCVs right off the bat with just 3 Zerglings is actually a fantastic pickup. Now, it's not something that's going to end the game or something like that, but definitely a great move by Life.
Yeah, and at the same time, he scouts exactly what ForGG is going for. He's like, okay, we see Hellions on the map. I kind of expected that. And now that there's Zergling presence on the map, it's going to be so hard for ForGG to move out with these Hellions until he has a full SimCity block at the front there with supply depots, as well as perhaps a bunker just to ward off the Zerglings.
Yeah, that will take a while for him to actually build up as well. You don't really want to make all these supply depots before you actually need them for supply, but definitely something you have to consider doing against a player like Life, who, as you said earlier, Moonglade, is so famous for counterattacks with the Zerglings.
It's actually exactly what he does every single game in every single matchup. We see Clerk on the way with the first Banshee, but we already see 3 Creep Queens for Life. He understands the fundamentals, the biggest problems for Zerg on this map, which is going to be creep spread. You want to have a decent number of Queens, especially against ForGG, because Queens do very well against Hellion, Banshee as well, so long as you have enough of them and so long as you have some Zerglings to back it up as well.
Well, right now we do have the Banshee going across the map. Cloak going to be done by the time he gets over there. A second Banshee on the way as well. Do you think we're going to end up seeing a mechanic composition here?
It's still very, very possible. We're going to have to wait and see if we see perhaps 2 more racks go down in engineering bay anytime soon, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is going to be mech.
Yeah. He's making those multiple Banshees, so we'll see. He still has the option to do either one. In the meantime, Life already starting upgrades, so if he's not going for mech, he's going to be way behind in bio upgrades against Life.
Yeah. 1-1, it is melee, granted. Not the best upgrade you would have against mech either. So Life would probably want to go into a range upgrade if he knew for sure that it was going to be the mech. And Banshee going down for free, essentially. Just too many Queens there.
Yeah.
And he ran in a little too close to detection. And looks like it is going to be mech. 2 armories.
Yeah, this means we're going to see quite a few Hellions, Siege Tanks, Thors, Banshees, Vikings, all the good stuff from Terran here. And in fact, you know, there's multiple ways to play this. You can play it very aggressively with your mech units and try to push them out quickly, or you can wait to max out and do a very slow push across map. Either way, gonna be an exciting game, very different from the other TVZs we've seen so far in this tournament.
It's certainly going to go a lot longer than all the other ZVTs we've seen in this tournament so far, and I wouldn't be surprised if it will be this kind of slow mech style because of the map layout, because you can get a very easy 4 bases. And, I mean, Life, look at the situation Life is in. He hasn't actually discovered it is mech yet. We still see a Baneling Nest going down. That's not going to be useful against mech. We still see that +1 melee upgrade. Can be useful in the late game if you're going into ultras, which I think wouldn't be a surprise. But hold on, we got a massive Hellbat attack.
That's right. This is a lot of Hellbats pushing forward, and with only Zergling tech right now, he's going to have a hard time holding on against it. The Queens being microed heavily against these Hellbats. In the meantime, the other one's at the 3rd base, going to wipe out quite a few drones and then go up for some support.
So far, 8 drones going down to this. A lot of Queens are going to help try and clean this up. I think they can in time, but this 3rd base is completely useless at the moment, and a lot of Banelings coming in, which he's going to need to get good hits on. Very nicely done there.
Yeah, it looks like he will end up cleaning this up. A nice cleanup, but ForGG at this moment has killed 19 drones total this game. That is a gigantic number, and it puts him really far ahead of Life.
That is such a big blow there. That 3rd base completely useless for a while. And the Banshee survives so they can come back and do more damage. And look at this. We're seeing 2 Spires go down, Artosis.
Oh my god, 2 Spires at this time, Moonglade? What does it mean?
It means he wants to go for a heavy muter style, I'm guessing. He's going for that +1 range attack as well, so he has the impression, he knows that, okay, it is going to be mech from ForGG. I have to start making the right tech, the right upgrades, but he's taken so much economic damage already. He doesn't have a 4th. He's starting making it now. And ForGG already has the 3rd base.
Yeah, that 3rd base up in mining is really helping him out. He's going to stay on top of his upgrades. He's going to stay on top of his macro as well, getting a ton of units out here. I like, though, how Life is just getting everything. Look at this. He's getting his Roach upgrade. He's getting the Infestation Pit, the double Spire, as you said. he is going to have just so many options on how to play this out.
Well, once you know that it is going to be mech, you do have that time to kind of sit back and be like, okay, I have to be greedy now. I have to have so much. I have to build so many drones. I have to get so many bases up because mech can't do much for a while. Granted, these Banshees are doing a lot of work, but it is a big investment from ForGG. If they get defended against, if they get wiped out, then ForGG has lost the map for a while. He's in a very awkward position here.
Well, you are right about that, but he's being pretty careful with them, already turning them around. So it looks like he may just be going back to join up with his main army. Of course, you know, if they do sit around with the main mech army, the mutas are not going to be able to kill them so easily, and they add a lot of damage to any unit composition.
Oh, yeah, and we already see 2 Thors on the way as well, plus 2 are already out, so these mutas are going to do absolutely nothing in terms of harassment. 2-2 on the way for the mech. I mean, ForGG is in such a great position here. He has completely caught Life off guard.
Yeah, he's really played this game out quite nicely, whereas Life was caught off guard, as you say, not knowing what the tech route was for his opponent. ForGG just trying to keep Life a little bit busy, running around with some Hellions here and there. He doesn't really care if he loses them. All he cares about is getting his supply up, because as mech reaches a 200 army, it becomes more powerful than almost anything else in the game.
That is very fair to say. I don't think there's actually anything stronger. Basically, what Life has to do is find the composition that's going to be very, very strong against what kind of mech army ForGG is making. And right now, ForGG is kind of sitting back and making everything. He started with Thors and Banshee and Hellbat. The Hellbat Banshee did some damage. Going into Thors is going to completely counter these mutas. And now, it seems the reaction from Life is going to go into Roaches, which is going to be pretty decent against a small number of Thors, but the Banshees still remain here. So it is such an awkward position for Life to be in right now.
Yeah, against what Life has, this is a rock-solid unit composition. He's not really going to take any damage anywhere, I would say. So he's free to go ahead, take his own 4th base, and not that much slower than Zerg, which is, of course, a problem for Life, who needs to stay up at least 1 base.
Yeah, he has to be up at least 1 base. He should be a lot higher in supply at this point as well, but they are completely even on supply. ForGG moving across the map now. He knows he has the composition advantage. He knows he has the army advantage, the upgrade advantage. The economy is almost the same. Things are just looking so good for ForGG.
It really is, but right now, Life is making some counter units. He's getting quite a few infestors with fungal growth, getting more and more roaches as well. If he gets some great fungal growths off on this army, holds it still, does that splash damage, maybe his roaches can clean it up.
Maybe, but it's going to take a lot of fungals. Mech have a lot of HP, and I mean, there's going to be a lot of tanks as well doing a lot of damage, but here we go, a huge flank from every side here.
Look at this, Life all over the place, spreading his roaches out, some great fungals going down on these Hellbats, making them almost useless, but the Banshees come in and force these roaches back. ForGG's push looking way too strong.
There are so many Banshees in this army, which is going to make pretty much everything redundant here. Sure, he can fungal them, but there isn't enough fungals to kill them all.
No, he's spreading them out. In fact, now some infested Terrans do go down, but that is his last line of defense. Where are Life's units? They're rolling out of the hatcheries and dying and saying it's GG.
Wow.
ForGG ties up the series 1-1.
What a great game there from ForGG. Playing to his strengths here, playing to the map strengths, going for that mech timing. I love it. It's exactly what he needs to do against Life here.
I am just so happy right now that he is taking game number 2. This is a real series now, Moonglade. Sure, his cheese failed in that first game, but he's coming back strong. He's coming back with a unit composition that Life is maybe not quite as strong against.
I think you might be right, Artosis. He has busted this series wide open here. I'm so excited to see what the next map is going to be. It's going to tell a lot about what we have to expect in this game 3.
Well, I have that map for you, Moonblade.
Oh, what is it?
And it is going to be Foxtrot Labs. Talk to me about TVZ on this map.
Well, it is a little bit of an awkward map for Zerg, I feel, on this map. It can be awkward positions. You can spawn in 2 different locations based on the map, and I don't know. I think Life has done pretty well on this in the past.
Yeah,
but it can be very awkward, especially for the 4th base.
I think if you hold on pretty solidly as the Terran player, what are you going to do as the Zerg, right? Like, you can spread your creep very far, but there's very small areas. It's going to be quite hard to flank that Terran army. So ForGG with some strong micro should be able to avoid good Baneling hits from Life.
Yeah, I think so as well. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if we see Life be a little bit more aggressive on this map. He will have a better chance at scouting on this map as well. it isn't as big as Deadwing. And I think that came into an effect as well because you have to kind of scout early on that it is going to be mech or bio. If you get it wrong, you are so behind in upgrades in tech as well as in economy because you have so much more time to expand and to power drones against mechs so long as you don't fall for any traps like that Hellbat Banshee that we did see from 4GG. So I think we should see a bit more of a safer game from Life in this game. He's aware now that 4GG will go mech, and he will go for like massive Hellbat Banshee timings as well.
All right, so if we had to ask you, Moonglade, looking at 4GG, what strategy do you think gives him the highest chance of beating Life on this map?
I feel like he should open the same way that he did last game, or perhaps what he did the first game, but not completely all in. Just take map control with Hellions, because Life does like to go for that Ling Bane aggression very early on. So if you have a good Hellion, perhaps Banshee presence on the map, it's going to be so much harder to make that work. Almost impossible, so long as you're looking after your Hellions. And from there, you can't go into mech, you can't go into bio. It's going to be up to 4GG what he likes, but I feel like mech is his strong suit here.
It does seem so, and being a Terran versus Terran sniper, as many do call him, means he has a lot of practice with it, but looks like we are ready to start this game. Down in the bottom right of Foxtrot Labs, give it up for Millennium's 4GG. Quite a nice crowd out here today. Thank you all for stopping by to the grand finals of Dreamhack. And up here in the top left, I want to hear you make some noise for StarTale Life.
Your current world champion.
That's right. Just a few weeks ago, Life took home 100 grand at BlizzCon, crowning him the world champion until next year. But another title he would very much like to add to that, of course, is the Dreamhack overall champion.
His giant collection already, his countless trophies. I'm sure he wants another one to end the year out here.
Whereas 4GG, this guy's a champion from StarCraft 1, but he hasn't actually won any big tournaments in StarCraft 2 yet.
That is very true. Still looking for it, and you know what? He's in a pretty good place in this tournament, I feel. No matter what happens in this series, he's still in a good place. And yeah, he's looking so strong, especially in TVT, but you know what? His ZVT isn't looking bad at all.
No, it really isn't. Let's see how this goes now. It looks like 4GG getting his gas and his barracks reasonably early here. You think it's going to be a Reaper opening to scout what Life's up to?
Well, you know, Reapers are actually very good on this map. Just that one Reaper, because there is a backdoor kind of into the main base. Is much better at scouting. We could see him go for that. We'll have to wait and see if he's going to throw down the Reaper. But I think either choice is going to be good, because look at that natural as well. The natural is very wide open.
Yeah.
It would make great use of a Hellion run by if he so desires. But I think it's going to be that Reaper after all.
Yeah, it does look like it. In the meantime, Life has gone for that quick hatchery once again, and we do expect to see that almost every single game out of a Zerg player against a Terran player. And of course, going into the spawning pool and a gas afterwards. So he can get a reasonably quick speed, but not as quick as we've seen in some of these games.
That is true. I mean, looking at how Life is doing this, we could actually see, perhaps on some of these maps, a proxy 2 racks from 4GG would actually really catch him out here.
Yeah, that's actually very true. If Life keeps going for a hatchery first, double proxy racks could be great.
Yeah, like hatchery first. In some of these maps, Life is kind of preferencing going gas before pool, going for that super fast circling speed. You will pretty much die to a 2 racks if it's going to be gas before pool. You are just too greedy.
Well, he kind of prepared for it here with that quicker pool after the hatchery, but you know, that's not really going to change the game too much. He should be able to defend this Reaper without really any problem.
Yeah, he should be completely fine against the Reaper. It's actually a perfect build to deal with Reapers, because your Zerglings will come out in time. You can chase away that Reaper. No real damage should be done, though. We do see a very low drone already.
Yeah, being very careful running that drone around the hatchery right now. Chasing away this Reaper with the Lings. We'll do a little bit of micro here, but generally speaking, when we see Zerglings against a Reaper, you lose maybe 1, maybe 2, but that's going to be the extent of the damage.
Yeah, a little bit of extra damage here on the Reaper. Got to be careful, though, because Queens will be popping out pretty soon here. See one on the intercept here. One more hit.
Oh! A little bit sloppy there from ForGG losing. I feel like he was a bit greedy, Moonglade.
He hanged around way too long there. I'm not sure what he was really looking for. He already kind of saw the drones go off gas, and he saw the speed being upgraded here, and he knew that Queens were going to come out. But yeah, a little bit of a blunder there. It means he's kind of going to give up map control, going to give up any sort of scouting in the future here until those Hellions come out.
Well, the Hellions are being made. He does have a few Marines as well, and making that starport off of just one gas. So it looks like he's going to want to put on some early pressure. Do you think he's going to take a quick third command center as well?
He very well could at this point. Looking at what he has, he's still going to invest a lot in minerals here for Hellions, as well as, I believe, a Banshee.
He hasn't actually made a tech lab yet, so maybe just a medevac coming out here for the time being. But he did get a second gas, so he definitely could follow up with a Banshee if he likes.
Okay, so we're going to see, I guess we're going to see very, very similar to Game 1, but with an expansion this time. Or perhaps he will just go for a Hellion drop, a classic move, one we do not see very often these days.
Well, if he can pick off a bunch of drones here, that's going to be absolutely fantastic for him. He's got to hurt that economy of life. If you let life go unhindered for the first, 10, 15 minutes of the game, he's going to be out of control. There's going to be too much Zerg on the map to deal with.
While life does have extreme aggression, and he's very, very known for it, he does have amazing macro as well to follow this up. He's not just a one-trick pony. He can do a lot of things, and if you're going to leave him alone like this, you better make something happen. But it is going to be Banshee with Cloak here, but a huge Ling counterattack going.
Yeah, that's a lot of Lings being made. The Baneling Nest is actually about to finish as well. So
okay.
Well, I think life might be going all in here. We do have this Marine drop in the main base. ForGG realizing absolutely not going to work for now. Some Speedlings going into the natural of ForGG, surrounding a lot of these SCVs, and ForGG taking a lot of damage.
Taking so much damage. He does have a lot of Hellions on the map, which can kind of clean this up here. So long as he gets in a decent position, life is going to be trying to surround them. And I think he might have done at least a little bit of surrounding, getting rid of maybe one or two.
Oh, it looks like he does save that one for the time being. Loses another one or two. And he's starting to lose a lot of Hellions. The Zerglings going for their counterattack now. But in the meantime, we do have a nice Marine drop over at Life's Natural.
Yeah, caught in a little hallway there. Very, very awkward place for any kind of Zergling to attack into. So very, very nice positioning there from ForGG. They're using Queens to clean things up here now that the Medivac is gone. And still, these Hellions remain, and they're doing so much work against these Zerglings on the map.
Yeah, that's right. They're actually killing them off, but he's lost quite a few SCVs down there in the natural. In fact, some Banelings busting through. He does have Hellbats up at the top of the ramp, though, and will remain alive.
Yeah, looking very good there. Good positioning. And life isn't going to stop here, but I'm kind of getting worried. That's a lot of Hellions on the map.
Well, these Hellions pushing forward once again. They're going to be able to kill off these Zerglings. Of course, there are Banelings on the way, so he's got to be careful about that. Going to send the Banshee up to help deal with those. But you can kite against Banelings with Hellions.
Yeah, and this is kind of exactly what I was worried about, and what kind of played to ForGG's strength in this matchup. He knows that life loves to go for these kind of high aggression Ling Bane attacks. So long as you have those LA Hellions on the map and you are controlling them well, you can defend against this very, very easily. And now there's Cloaked Banshees destroying the third base. There's nothing there to stop it.
No, there's not. And in fact, some Hellions coming across the map now, going to clean up some of this creep. We do have a Roach Warren on the way, which is a good counter to Hellions and Hellbats both. So if he can get some Roaches out, that'll really help. But for the time being, life is taking a ton of damage.
He is taking so much damage, and now the Hellions are harassing the natural here, and there's not really anything to defend. The last Queen is about to go down. One is coming from the main base. We do see some Banelings kind of zoning out the Hellions here as well, but there's still a Banshee just going ham.
Yeah, life is trying to hang on here, but that Banshee just worth so much. He moves up a Spore right now. He does have some Queens as well, so he should be able to push this back. Maybe even end up killing it, but the Hellions pushing up, trying to kill off the Queens. Not quite able to yet, but reinforcements keep coming.
And these Queens are so low now. Banshee looking for those kills. A nice counterattack onto the natural of ForGG, but only a few SCVs there. It really seems like ForGG's kind of almost going all in on this. He can transition, I think, but still just not really much of economy behind this. If it gets completely deflected, I'm getting kind of worried for him.
Well, right now it's going pretty well, so we'll see how this continues. Roach speed on the way. 6 Roaches about to hatch out. That's going to really help in pushing these back. But in the meantime, we do have that mech attack upgrade for ForGG. It looks like he's going to stay on this Hellion Banshee composition for now.
It does look like that. And Banshee's still doing work. 18 kills on this Banshee, 19 now. Absolutely
crazy.
insane. Yeah.
Oh man, when you get a unit that has this many kills, when you get a unit that becomes a captain, oh, the Zerg's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. This is not looking good at all. Life just waiting for more queens to come out while he does this roach counterattack, but I'm pretty sure there is at least one Banshee waiting at home. No, make that 2.
Oh, the 2 Banshees is actually a really big deal to help push these Roaches back. Doesn't want to have to just fully engage with only Hellions because they are good against them, but this is more than enough to clean up Life's little podunk force in his natural.
Yeah, that is absolutely nothing. It was kind of a desperate counterattack, trying to give Life some space here, and ForGG's not giving him anything. He is complete control of this game here. He's up 20 supply now, and I believe he does have the economic advantage considering how many drones died at that natural.
Well, right now he is moving across the map once again with his Hellion Banshee, staying on this composition that has done so well for him so far, turning those Hellions into Hellbats. They're going to have a lot more health and a lot more damage this way. He pushes forward right now. Some nice micro, though, by Life.
Yeah, only 3 queens here, and they're going to be fighting on the ramp here. That's so many Banshees. That's simply too many. They're going to 2-shot the queens, essentially, and I think we might actually see game again. There's not really anything left.
I think you're right there, Moonglade. These Banshees alone may be able to end this game. Life doing all he can, making 2 more queens to try to help push these Banshees back, but they can just deal way too much damage. Look how quickly they're taking down that hatchery.
They can just right-click the hatchery from here. There's not enough spores. There's not a spore at the front. There's no queens to kind of bait their Banshees into the spore. Things are looking horrible here, and I think there's simply nothing Life can do if these Banshees kill the hatchery.
Yeah, that's right. He is kiting against it. He might be able to kill it off. The Queen's coming forward, trying to kill him, but no! The hatchery does go down, and this brings Life down to just 1 base. How does he even come back from this, Moonglade?
I'm not sure if he can. Look at this desperate counterattack into the natural. He knows, he sees the fully saturated base here. There's 2 Banshees already waiting. There's nothing he can do at this point.
I think you're right about that. This may be Life's final attack. He's trying to remake his hatchery home. He's trying to make some roaches, but he's just not getting anything done. He knows the next attack is going to be the one that kills him.
No doubt about that. All roaches cleaned up here. He sees everything that's going on. He sees the base, desperately trying to make that natural base back in. He's still making roaches. He's still making queens. He's trying to hold on as best as he can. He does not want to go down 2 games and give that match point.
The match point is a big deal, man. You have a game to give, and if you win, that's it. You're in the grand finals, and that would be so big for ForGG's StarCraft 2 career right now. Life, on the other hand, you know, he's the reigning world champion.
He's the reigning world champion.
Yeah, he wants to defend that here.
He does, and he should be. He should be very, very confident against this player, but, you know, he's been caught off guard 2 times now, and he's trying for another roach counterattack here, but we do see the gold base just going down for ForGG. He's going to go miles ahead in economy, and he's making that composition that Life will just have such a hard time to deal with. 2 more factories going down, and Thors are being made.
Well, that's going to give him a total of 5 factories, and that's going to be a lot of mech units to deal with. These roaches going to come up, try to harass this gold base, try to stop the mining because it's just so valuable, but it's not going to be hard at all to chase these away with the Banshees.
Yeah, getting a few kills there. 8 kills, you know, not bad, not bad. I mean, Life needs everything he can to kind of come back into this. We do see a Banshee going into the main base now, going to be looking for more drone kills, and GG from Life.
Yeah, seems kind of sudden, but really he saw that gold base. He realized he was getting just too far behind, and he'd rather focus his energy on this next game.
That's probably for the best. You know, probably taking some time thinking about what he did wrong, why he lost that game. And now he can go into the next game maybe with a better understanding of what he should be doing and what he shouldn't be doing, specifically against ForGG.
I think you're very right about that, Moonglade. We see the type of plays that ForGG is wanting to make here. He's wanting to go heavy on the harassment units. He wants to have a lot of mobility as Terran, which isn't always the case. But it's doing fantastically for him. His defense is pretty solid. His counterattacks are brutal. He's kind of beating Life his own game in some ways.
He really is. I feel like Life should not have done that build. He should not be going for the Ling Bane aggression against ForGG because he has seen ForGG's build for 2 games in a row before that. He knows he likes to go fast Hellions. And Hellions are the biggest problem when it comes to going Ling Bane like that. Unless you get a perfect surround, unless you get good Bane hits on the Hellions, you pretty much just get kited and you die and you lose. And that's exactly what we saw. Next map, Overgrowth. Not a bad map for Life either. not a bad map for Link Bane aggression, but I don't think he should be doing it this time. We have seen Mech. We have seen Mech for the last 2 games from ForGG.
And this is not a bad map for it either. You can cut the map in half very easily. With the high ground, with a gold base, you can really get it going. So I'd love to see a long game like that.
It is a perfect map for Mech. It is one of the best maps. That and Deadwing, for sure.
Now, last time I asked you, Moonglade, I was like, okay, look, ForGG's the underdog. What does he need to do here on Foxtrot to kill Life? Well, now ForGG is on match point. If he wins one more, he's going to the grand finals, and Life is dropping down. So what does Life have to do to beat ForGG on Overgrowth?
I think Life needs to play a later game. I think he needs to play more macro. He needs to maybe lay off the all-ins here and kind of identify what ForGG is doing. Because ForGG is just pretty much going fast Hellions, which are going to keep him safe against the all-ins that Life wants to do. And he's going to go into that mid-game and go for a powerful mech builds. And so if Life is like, okay, I'm going to play a macro game, I'm going to kind of defend against whatever you're throwing at me, kind of expect a lot of Hellion Banshee, and maybe just kind of counter the mech, you know, like go into that mid-game and play a more macro style, play a more Sue-esque style, less hyper-aggression, more perfect macro.
Okay, I like it, I like it. And in fact, I've seen him on specifically this map, specifically against mech compositions, and he knows how to do it.
He does.
He knows how to go for the transitions from Swarmos into Mutas and back. He knows how to break a big turtley mech army. So I would love to see him to just go into a macro game, show that he's that full player with every strategy at his disposal.
Yeah, well, he has been having so much success with this super aggressive style, with Link Bane especially, that I can't blame him for trying it, but he can't afford to lose another game or he's going to the loser bracket. He will lose this match and give ForGG the grand finals.
Well, that's what ForGG wants right now. This guy has not had a championship in StarCraft 2. And guys, this is actually a weird thing because, of course, there's just so many people that play StarCraft 2 and so few can become champions. But when ForGG came over to StarCraft 2 from StarCraft 1, we're like, oh, God, this is a real champion here. He's going to rack up the championships in StarCraft 2. And it just hasn't gone that way yet. So
it really hasn't, yeah.
You know, this is... I guess you don't win a championship till you win your first championship. It's taken a while, but this might be destiny for him and not so much for Life and Tasia like we've been saying.
Wouldn't that be a great story? I would actually love to see that. And it could very well happen. Up 2 games here, 1 to go, and he's into the grand finals, and his TVT's looking amazing. So if Life so happened to lose in the lower bracket, he's still going to be well prepared for whoever's coming his way.
I would say at this point, with how good his TVT is and how he's played this series, even if he loses here, he shouldn't actually be afraid of anyone. He's at a very similar level to everyone else left in this top 4.
Yeah, I mean, once 3-0ing Polt, I think you're ready. You're ready for TVT no matter who it's going to be.
Yeah.
And going up 2 games against Life, your TVZ's looking great as well.
Indeed it is. And, you know, again, his own style. The beautiful thing, in my opinion, about StarCraft 2 is you have so many different ways to play. It's such a complex and beautiful game, but you can do it however you want. You can be a very aggressive player. You can be a macro player. You can do mech strategies, bio strategies, whatever you like. And he's doing strats that we don't really see so often.
They're more of an old school kind of style that ForGG never really evolved out of, and it wasn't a bad thing that he didn't, because it's still very relevant today. It still works like a lot of other Terran strategies that we've used in the past. They still have their place, and we're seeing just ForGG play it perfectly.
Well, he's got a lot of experience with it, whereas Life, you know, he's more used to playing against Terrans such as Polt and Tasia, so maybe that's catching him off guard. We'll see if he can adapt in this next game on Overgrowth. The game has started, so we're going to go ahead, jump into it, and get this underway. I am super excited, Moonglade.
I am so excited for ForGG. He is looking fantastic, and Life has to make a change in his gameplay if he wants to survive this next game.
All right. Speaking of that, down here in the bottom left of Overgrowth, he has to win here or he drops the loser bracket. It is Startail Life. And his opponent in the top right, going up 2-1 in an unexpected upset so far. It is Millennium's ForGG.
No one was expecting this.
No, certainly not. But you know what? Maybe we should have. This guy hasn't lost his series yet either. He's in the winner bracket final for a reason. This isn't some sort of weird fluke. You know, this guy is not like some mid-tier player who's getting lucky. This is a championship caliber Terran who is playing his ass off this weekend.
He is. He's done amazing work so far, and has looked absolutely amazing in this game. I really do enjoy this style that he's playing. It brings me back memories. It has been years since the style has been out, but it's still so good. And I love seeing Mech. It's something we also don't see, which is definitely throwing Life off guard.
Well, you know, Life needs to be careful with his aggression then. That's the important thing, I think, because ForGG is shutting it down with this huge amount of Banshees, with this huge amount of Hellions. And if you shut it down and go into Mech, Mech is like this unbreakable composition. So Life's standard aggression won't do it. He needs to go into a macro game.
Yeah, you got to go into a macro game. You got to choose your aggression a lot more carefully against Mech. You got to be choosing the right units, the right composition, and you got to choose the right timings and tech switches. There's so many. It's such a different game when you're playing against Mech to a normal Bio Terran. You have to be smart about it, and I don't think Ling Bane is the way unless you really catch those Hellions early on.
That's right. If you can get like a nice surround on them, you can do an ambush on those Hellions, then hey, that's fantastic. You can go ahead and kill them now. But if you don't, the coming back is, it's a high hill to climb.
Very, very high hill. And we're going to see the Reaper opening from ForGG. So he wants to get his scout on, see exactly what's going on in life space here. And very, very interesting from Life, we're actually seeing a gasless expand here, which is not going to be the kind of the greatest opening against a Reaper expand. But, I mean, you do lose a lot of map control. You're not going to have, map control at 6 minutes. You're not going to have Zerglings on the map. You can't apply pressure here. So we're already seeing Life completely switch up his style here.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the complete opposite of what he has been doing. And he's just going to go for a much more macro-heavy game.
Well, I like it. This is what we were saying he needs to do. So I say, forget about the map control. Let's get into that macro game. And with these extra queens, he can go ahead, start pushing that creep out, really get his economy flowing, and then maybe go into roaches. I think that like a macro roach play wouldn't be a terrible idea against someone who keeps going mass Hellions and Hellbats.
Yeah, so that wouldn't be bad at all. And I love this play. Sneaking some Zerglings up to the natural here. He's going to get rid of the SCVs, really slowed down the CC being built here. Great little move there from Life, something we see a lot. And we're seeing a Spore Crawler being made just to defend that drone while the Reaper's being dealt with here. Gonna lose that Reaper as well.
Once again, a little bit greedy with the Reaper. This is something ForGG keeps doing.
Yeah, a bit of odd play there, just sticking around a little too long, just trying to see exactly what Life has planned with this build. And we're kind of seeing the same style once again from ForGG.
That's right. Well, we'll see if he can actually get some damage done here. He is going to have to try to delay Life, maybe on that third base. He is going for the starport. But he only has one gas yet, so it could just be, as you said, going into the medevac and then maybe a Banshee after that.
Yeah, it seems to be his kind of style here.
Yeah.
And it has been doing very, very well so far. He does take map control. He's going to take even more map control for even longer this time because there's only gas being made now for Life.
You think this is going to be for roaches? Could we see a big swell of roaches and an aggressive attack, or is it more likely defense?
Well, it is going to be, it definitely is defensive early on, and it's going to be a lot of creep early on as well with those 2 extra queens. From there, it could be roaches, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. You can just play a normal style, get Zergling speed a bit later, and you kind of just drone a little bit harder with the help of those 2 queens to help you defend.
Well, it looks like we are just about ready to get back into this, guys. I hope that you are enjoying Dreamhack Winter. The biggest and best LAN party on Earth. And definitely one of the greatest StarCraft tournaments of all time as well.
Damn straight about that. And yeah, this event has been absolutely amazing. This is the coolest LAN. I've never been to a LAN so big before.
Well, by definition you haven't, because Dreamhack is the biggest LAN in the world.
Well, how about that?
So you'd literally have to have been here before to have been to a LAN as big before.
That is true, Artosis. You are so correct. And we are seeing that Medivac on the way once again with the Hellions. And you mean don't fix it if it ain't broke. ForGG going to be going for the same style.
Yeah, same exact build it looks like just about here. Even lost the Reaper early on. Now in the meantime, we do have a Roach Warren going down. We do have the Lair going up. And this means that he can go ahead and use defensive roaches. Maybe he's going to go for a 2-base Spire. Maybe he'll just go into roach speed.
I like it. And we're actually, whoa, this Zergling's actually going to see everything.
A big mistake. Oh my God.
The tech lab.
He's even delaying this. I can't believe it. Beautiful by Life here.
This is amazing.
That actually slowed down the Banshee quite a bit.
He saw everything. He knows exactly what's coming his way. He can go for roaches this time, but look at this problem here. He doesn't have Zergling speed. He should be making roaches any second now. He's starting 3. He's only got a couple of queens to help do this, and he has to cancel the third base. So bad for Life.
That is huge, Moonglade, to be able to cancel that third base. ForGG taking an early lead, even killing off one of these creep tumors, kind of poking in, trying to figure out what Life is up to. And I think he has a very good idea of it. He saw that Roach Horn. He saw it upgrading. He should know that roaches are on the way.
Seeing 2 queens like this as well, like he knows exactly, like, okay, this is the kind of build you're doing. You have you have either slow link speed or no link speed at all. You are going to that Roach style. I can just keep making Banshees. I can go into the mech style. I can make tanks. I don't have to make Thors anytime soon. And yeah, ForGG knows everything that's going on. He canceled the third base. His economy will be ahead. Nothing could be better for ForGG right now.
Well, his armory's about to finish, so his Hellions will become Hellbats, and that's pretty good as well.
Wow.
We'll see if it can do damage, though, because a lot of Roaches are on their way, Moonglade, and they're going to have Roach speed rather quickly, which means he should be able to out-micro Hellbats.
That is true. That is true. Definitely should, but he's never going to be able to out-micro the Banshees. They're always going to be doing a lot of damage here, and we see one Roach go down for free because of that. And I think he's going to have to cancel this third base again unless he gets his queens in position.
That would be so big. This third hatchery halfway done now. Should have been done a long time ago if he didn't have to cancel. But uh-oh, it looks like he's going into Hellbat mode here, dropping off the Marines as well. This is a very fearsome army indeed. Going to go ahead and target down the Queen a little bit. He does get the first one. The Roach is starting to be microed heavily, but he is pushing forward.
Yeah, and losing that second Queen, he could not afford to lose the second Queen like that. It was at the front. The Hellbats did so much damage. The Banshee is still alive, even though it's only a couple hits away from a Queen from killing it. And he got rid of all the Hellbats. It looks like he is going to go for a counterattack. He knows that that ForGG has invested so much into this third base attack, and maybe, just maybe, Life can find a way into the mineral line here and actually do some critical economic damage.
It definitely could happen. He's just going to have Hellions and Banshees at home to defend. In the meantime, he is going to go ahead and drop some Hellbats into the natural here, killing a lot of Life drones and using these Banshees very well also.
Life seems really shaken here. He's not defending that natural well at all, and the Roaches are busting in to the natural. He needs to start using them. He actually needs to run up the ramp, get into the SCV lines, and start killing everything he can.
That's right, he's pushing up this ramp now. Oh, he doesn't put up the wall, and once again, Life goes into the main base, and there's nothing here to defend.
Yeah, this could actually turn around in an instant here. There's no way these SCVs are killing the Roaches. So many SCVs are going to go down. 18 already, and more are going down. While this is all happening, though, we do see still Terran units in the main base of the Zerg, also killing drones.
It looks like we might be in a base trade scenario here, like a Banshee and a Hellbat against a million Roaches, but Roaches don't shoot up, so these Banshees really worth their weight in gold here.
Eventually, they will kill off all the Roaches here. We need to see Queens being made. But Life just, you know, he doesn't have the economy. We still see something in the main base. I think it might be a Banshee still shooting what it can. Drone production is starting again here. 2 Banshees wiping out all these Roaches. It's going to take a long time, but it will happen eventually.
Oh my god, he loses his orbital. A huge pick off there by Life.
That should never have happened.
Yeah, very well done. Oh my god. Oh.
And then it would just be game.
It would be indeed.
And that was a full, pretty much a full energy CC as well. He had a lot. He had at least 3 mules in that thing. That is so much money.
Yeah, he really made quite a mistake there. Now the supply is 9 to 56. So I feel like you gotta favor Life, but there's still a chance for ForGG with these Banshees.
Well, I think there's a chance until at least 3 Queens are made, and then I'm pretty safe to say it could be game. I don't see how ForGG can turn this one around.
Well, 3 Queens are in production. He's already got one here in the natural as well, so he should be able to do that pretty soon. In fact, we have the Banshees at home trying to help defend. And with these Roaches coming, it looks like he wants to go after some of these workers.
Yeah, I mean, he can force the CZ to lift, and then he can't land again because there's already creep being spread from the Overlord. Beautiful move there from Life.
Gonna even kill off all of these mules. This is some bad news for ForGG. He's got just about nothing left. His entire supply is these 3 Banshees and a Viking.
and 2 Hellions. He's actually making 2 more as well, so it looks like he is going to go on the offensive one last time and see what he can do. But Life's economy is already back up and running. All he needs is to make us a few more roaches with some queens and just hold the line here, and we might see a GG from ForGG.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, Moonglade. There's just not anything left here. Oh, God, a Banshee already going down. These queens going to chase them back. He'll fly around a little bit, see if there's anything to be done. But when he sees how many drones there are and the queens continue to follow, he's going to realize this game is over.
Yeah, Broach is chasing down these 2 Hellions, kind of scouting out everything, going to try and look for maybe some eco damage. But GG from ForGG. We're going to Game 5.
Oh, yeah. We haven't had a lot of these Game 5s in this tournament so far. But this is when we want them.
Absolutely. The round of 4, it is the show. It is time to happen. It is the best players we have from this tournament now.
Well, that was quite a close game, I would say. Well played by Life there with that big Roach counterattack. ForGG maybe committing a little bit too heavily, as you said. And, you know, we're going to Game 5, which is fantastic. Map number 5. It's Nimbus.
Oh, wow, okay. You know, not a bad Terran map. Not a bad Terran map at all. Very, very hard 4th base for the Zerg, as per the standard of this map pool, pretty much. So, you know, I think we're going to see a long, nice game on this.
I really hope so. I'm kind of wondering how it's going to go, because this map, it's kind of big. It's easy to do aggression on the Zerg bases, especially the 3rd base and the 4th base. But that might make Life do a cheese. He might get aggressive here.
Gosh, I hope not. We did see him, I believe it was this map, go for that Ling Bane aggression against Tasia. And it did work out, but I think Tasia kind of made the mistake that ForGG would not, and that is make his Hellions into Hellbats at the wrong time. So I really hope Life is going to go for a similar style, maybe not that style, but more of an economic style going into Roaches. He knows ForGG wants to go mech. He knows he wants to go into Hellions and Banshees like that. I feel like, I hope we see this kind of similar of last game, but maybe not losing the 3rd base.
Okay, how effective do you think mech is on Nimbus?
It is not as good as Deadwing, perhaps, or as the last map. You can't really split the map in half like the other maps. But, I mean, can even ForGG play Bio? Like, we haven't seen him play Bio yet.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
He might actually just have to go mech anyway, or go for some sort of timing with Hellion, Hellbats, or Banshees. It's hard to say.
It's kind of funny. The much more common Marine, Marauder, Medevac type of style, we haven't seen him go at all. Like, he makes a few Marines to help out with his Hellions early on, but that's about the extent of it. So
yeah.
I think there is a good chance that he'll go for mech, but he might also just try to do some sort of timing attack. In fact, at this point, it might throw Life off for him to play a completely normal style of Terran Berserk.
Now, wouldn't that be funny? I mean, if he played the normal Bio style last game, he could have got really ahead, because Life was going for that Roaches with the upgrades and very, very late Zergling speed or no Zergling speed. And yeah, he was just playing a completely different style based on what ForGG had been doing.
Well, we'll see how these guys are going to go. Of course, this is a pretty big map. It's a 4-player map, and definitely does have different ways to play it in different starting spots. So I'm really excited to take a look at that and analyze exactly what these guys should be looking to do and looking to defend. It looks like our map has loaded up, so we're going to go ahead, jump into the game, and get game number 5 underway. One of these players is going to the grand finals. Down here in the bottom right of Nimbus, it's our Terran player from Millennium, ForGG. Some fantastic mech play out of him so far. Great harassment skills, great defense skills as well. But we cannot count this guy out yet. The current world champion, our Zerg player from StarTale, it's Life.
Now, I would have to give these positions advantage Life, because we do see the pocket natural of ForGG facing the main of Life. So if Life gets to those mutalisks, he has a lot of airspace to harass on. He has a direct path, a direct flight to that natural if he so desires. But we haven't really seen Life comfortably get to mutas yet because of the early aggression with Hellions, with Hellbats, with Banshees. And I think we might see the same from ForGG. It has been working for him generally every game. So long as he makes a few tweaks, he doesn't completely overcommit to a third base. He plays a bit smarter, doesn't take too much damage from a rogue counterattack especially.
God, I'd love to see that. And you know what? Life is like perfectly set to play a macro game on this map against mechs specifically, because on every Zerg versus Protoss game I've seen him play here, if it goes long, he goes Swarm Host. Just the layout of the map, he likes Swarm Hosts here. So that's also a counter that you can use against mech.
It is definitely a transition you can go into in the late game here. It does a lot of work, but I mean, I always get nervous when I see Life go Swarm Host, because he loses a lot of those games as well.
That is true.
It's kind of the opposite of what Life is, which is high aggression, like very, very fast-paced games, a lot of harassment, and Swarm Host, you're kind of just sitting there bulldozing the front and trying to pick off what you can with free units.
Well, right now we do see both players going for economic builds here. Command center first, of course, for ForGG. A quick hatchery for Life into the spawning pool and gas.
Yeah, it's looking very, very standard here. Very standard for the map. Fast CC, no surprise. Very, very easy to defend any sort of early sort of a pressure with a block on the ramp there.
And it will be a little bit before we can tell exactly what these guys are going to end up doing. I would imagine we're going to see the speed from Life.
And I'm going to imagine we're going to see the very fast Hellions from ForGG.
Yeah. I really like it on this map as well, I have to say, because when Life tries to take his third base down the ramp, it's going to be really hard to push the creep there quickly, to get his queens out to help defend, and some Hellion pressure can do a lot of damage.
Yeah, there's actually quite often we'll see Zerg struggle to get creep spread on this map because it is such a big map. It is very awkward. There's a big kind of space from the main base to that third base, and sometimes even Zergs will put that natural or their first hatchery on the low ground just to start creep spreading early.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't done it this time, and he's actually keeping a couple drones on gas. This could point towards some sort of cheeky play, don't you think?
It could very well. It actually kind of makes me nervous. I do not want to see him go for Ling Bane on this map, though he did against Tasia and won quite convincingly, but he's getting a perfect scout off here with the Zerglings. And it's a great timing, too, because he cannot lift that barracks. He's going to have to force out a Hellion first, which is going to slow down everything for ForGG.
Yeah, that is quite annoying. A great play there by Life. These are the types of little tiny things that Life does all the time that other Zergs are lacking. To just slow everything down. Like, for instance, last game we saw him sidling under the starport so it couldn't land and delay it by a good 10-15 seconds.
That was fantastic. What a good move there. And we're seeing actually a second gas added for Life, going into a very, very fast lair as well. I'm very, very curious, what are we going to see from him here? Maybe a two-base muter, perhaps?
I think you're right. In these spots, you were already saying, Moonglade, that Life should have an advantage. That back natural, that first expansion that ForGG took, is really close to Life's base. He could fly there super quick with mutas.
Yeah, he could, and it would do great considering what we see come out of ForGG nearly every game here. Hellion Banshee, not too good against Mutalisks, and I think that's exactly what we might be seeing here.
But the thing is, he just did a great scout with that Hellion. He got in there, he saw the layer was morphing, and he saw both gases being taken at Life's expansion. So he looks at this, and I think that you can only think a couple things. Like, okay, this could be Mutalisks. This could be some sort of weird Roach-type build, but with that much gas, it feels like mutas.
Yeah, when you see that many gases added, I think it almost has to be mutas. I mean, it can be Roach, but it's a very gas-heavy Roach, and maybe the transition into mutas later.
Yeah.
It can be something else crazy. I'm not entirely sure, but ForGG's still going to push. He's going to apply the pressure now anyway. He's going to get a great idea what it's going to be. He's going to see that spine at the front. He's going to see a lot of Zerglings be like, okay, it seems like you do want to go for those fast mutas. And already adding that armory, I think we're going to see a Hellbat push.
Yeah, it certainly does look like it. Now, of course, that armory can help out greatly by making a Thor against mutas as well if he has a tech lab on one of his factories. But he only has one factory right now. And he is making an engineering bay, which points towards him thinking mutas are going to come into play.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. These Banshee actually already doing a lot of work here, kind of pulling the queens out of position. We could see a Hellion run by if ForGG desired to. And then look at this. Already turning him into Hellbats, and right up the ramp he goes.
A Hellbat walk-up is what this is. A couple of Banelings actually run in and get a great hit off. The Zergling's starting to surround, and it looks like Life is going to hold this without any issue.
Yeah, not the best splitting from ForGG there. He took 2 full Bane hits on just about everything, as well as losing the Banshee. Oh, this is not looking good at all for ForGG.
No, certainly not. But right now he is making a lot of anti-air defense. He's sending up another Banshee. Of course, 5 Mutalisks on the way. But with a Thor, with some Vikings and some missile turrets going up, I think he can minimize damage from the Muta counterattack.
Yeah, he has made, he's got perfect anti-air at this point. But that's the name of the game against mech. You have to be ready to transition again and again and again. You simply cannot be hoping to just kill with one tech. You got to have roaches waiting. You got to have those roach upgrades going, and then ready to transition even from that, whether back into mutas, into Hydra, into late game, into swarm hosts. There's so many options here. It's just about choosing the right one for the right time.
All right, well, we'll see where he wants to go to next. He is getting that Overlord speed, of course. Try to dodge around with his Overlords and detect a bit quicker with his Overseers. Going to be flying around with these mutas. Only a few mutas actually out, 6 total on the map, and that might be all he makes for a bit with all this anti-air already made for ForGG.
I think so. Considering we did see 2 Vikings already shooting down an Overlord here, it kind of gives away, okay, you're investing quite a lot into anti-air, and we did see a Thor as well. So I do really like only 6 mutas. Taking that 3rd base, still ForGG sitting on 2 here. Very, very awkward situation for him at the moment. Looks like he will be trying to push down and kind of play more of a passive game into the mid game.
Yeah. I like it, Moonglade. I think that no one's going to die anytime soon. And that means a big mech game on a big 4-player map.
Oh, yeah. We're going to sit tight and enjoy this one. And why not? It is Game 5. Whoever loses this game is going to the loser bracket. Whoever wins is going into the Grand Finals.
And the Grand Finals is exactly where you want to be. 30K for first place. $30,000. I mean, I know we're in Sweden and it's expensive here, but even in Sweden, $30,000 is a hell of a lot of money.
That'll keep you going for a month.
Well, it looks like right now we have a lot of roaches on the way. ForGG's been poking around the map a little bit, trying to do some harassment, but both of them realize that right now they can't really kill each other. But I think the first real aggression here should be coming out of Life.
Yeah, and one of the big things we haven't noted just yet is that all the Banshees did get killed from those Mutalisks. So it really opened a huge opportunity for Life to go straight into that Roach tech, go into that Roach speed. And he has seen the composition as well from ForGG, which is nothing but Thors and Hellbats.
Yeah, well, we do have a couple siege tanks on the way, and if those were out right now, I'd say he holds this beautifully and Life just runs, but Life could try to make a move here with these roaches. His speed is about to finish.
Yeah, he's got to focus down those Thors before anything else. We do see the mutas on the one Banshee as well. It will take him down. Things are looking great for Life in this engagement.
Wow, this is a fantastic little attack by Life. Some more roaches are actually coming in right now. A couple siege tanks did pop out, but he's got to be careful because these roaches are just so fast.
They are so fast. The 2 tanks are out here. Life might have to settle for this 3rd base, but stopping the 2 gases of this 3rd base is huge against mech. It's going to slow down everything. And Life already has the next tech switch up and running here. He's upgrading Swarm Host Endurance. It is going to help out so much with the Locust, and it's going to, I mean, it's the perfect transition from here.
Yeah, I really do like it. He's going to force him into a lot of siege tanks. Then maybe we see him flip back into Mutalisks. Who knows? Life's going to have to kind of play it by ear, but he's going up to the hive. He's getting the Hydralisk Den. He's got to complete his tech tree.
He does, and he can. And he should be adding a 4th base as well anytime soon here. He does know that the 3rd CC has landed, and you always want to be at least 1 base up, especially against mech, because mech is just ridiculously cost efficient.
Well, right now, these roaches coming down into the 3rd base of ForGG. Oh, no, he's losing SCVs, he's losing mules, and he's losing mining time. Some great harassment by Life as he goes up by 40 supply.
Huge lead there. We're starting to see Hydras being added to the mix. I like this a lot. I mean, the position of everything up. Oh, hold on that thought. We're actually seeing every roach get blown up by a lot of tanks on the ramp.
What did he like target that plate or something? I thought that at least 1 tank should have died.
Yeah, I think he kind of changed targets a little too quick here, trying to even up the damage, so no tank ends up dying. Not the biggest blow in the world, but he's got to be a little careful because, I mean, the more units he loses, the more comfortable ForGG is moving out in the map.
Well, right now we do have some Hydras on the way. The hive is about to finish. Probably you'll see some Vipers shortly thereafter. Very, very strong against Siege Shanks, both with Abduct as well as Blinding Cloud.
Very, very important for this time of the game here. It's definitely one of the next transitions you want to go for, and try and pick off what you can. Blinding Cloud as many tanks as you can. Try and snipe that third CC. It's really, really important. I mean, you can come from the top. This map layout does give you a couple of angles into a base, and Hydras do so much damage and can snipe a CC very, very quickly.
Well, right now he is walking up into that middle of the map right now, charging up these Vipers, getting ready for another big attack. If ForGG spreads out, sieges up, and is ready for this when it comes in, I think he'll defend it without any real problem, Moonglade.
He should do, especially considering where... Look at that new CC, that 5th CC being put down. It is going to be a planetary. It's going to make nearly impossible to kind of engage into this zone here. So ForGG playing for the late game here, playing the defensive. He wants to get that mech ball up and running and kind of deflect everything that Life wants to throw at him. Because he knows Life is going to be going for these techs, which is that high aggression here. He wants to stop this mech before it goes to the late game, and he's forcing the swarm host and that more uncomfortable style that he doesn't want to play.
Well, right now we do see Life moving forward, trying to kill off whatever he can, pushing forward right now into Siege Shank range, and it looks like he will throw down a very good Blinding Cloud, but some of the Siege Shanks still able to fire.
Yeah, that is a lot of Siege Shanks still firing here. He is trading out. He's kind of resetting the Siege Shank count here, though, but he's losing his whole army to do it. And we see ForGG 20 supply up. That is not good.
Oh, no, that's not good at all. You know, he did kill off some Siege Shanks, one of the most important things to do. That is the backbone of the Terran mech army, but when you trade that many units, I don't know that it's worth it.
I'm not sure either, and I think we saw a lot of damage in the natural here. We kind of missed at the end, but that was a lot of drones that went down, I believe.
Oh. Yeah, 7 drones did in fact die. Kind of wasn't looking there, but some nice harassment still going on. ForGG going to push up and take a 4th. You know what? His 3rd base wasn't that much slower than Life's 3rd. His 4th wasn't much slower than Life's 4th. This is like some really good expansion timing here from ForGG.
And ForGG getting so confident now, he's even moving onto the creep towards Life's base. He might actually have the composition he needs to deal with this here. Life kind of out of position, going for a counterattack, doesn't really want to deal with it straight up. More and more Vipers being made as well as Hydras, but I don't think he has enough to really fight this army head on.
Yeah, well, he's going to come back with these roaches, and oh no, the Thors are all alone. He's going to be able to pick them off in a matter of seconds. Meanwhile, the rest of the mech army moving forward.
Wow, really, really awkward engagement there. And these tanks are completely out of position. Everything is getting caught out of position. This is so weird. This should not be happening for ForGG, but he still maintains a supply lead of 20. Now down to 10, and I mean, drones are getting roasted in the main as well.
That's right. His Hellbats doing whatever damage they can. He lost that army. It was a little bit sloppy, but he still did a little bit of damage and maintained supply parity.
He did. He did. Very, very weird kind of commitment there. Kind of just accepting that it might be a base trade and then trying to just go into the deep into creep. But Life just turned around and cleaned up things in very awkward positions here. And ForGG still keeping even supply, kind of set up shop here. Does have that 4th base up and running too. A lot of Vikings going to help out against these Vipers, but the tanks are getting shut down. And I think Life has to go for the 4th base now. He has to get rid of it. He has to maintain that base lead here.
Whoa, but he actually decides he wants to go for a full frontal attack here, trying to pick off some more Siege Shanks. Gets 1, gets 2, but he's losing a lot of supply here once again.
Oh, yeah, I do not agree with that. At the same time, Hellion harassment on that 4th base. And more drones went down, 11 that time.
This game is getting down and dirty, Moonglade. Attacks all over the place. SCVs, drones, roaches, hydras, siege tanks, everything dying left and right.
This is a nasty game, Artosis. Everyone just throwing their units at each other, essentially. But ForGG, mech, super cost efficient, even in these weird kind of circumstances.
It's hard to believe, but he has been pretty cost efficient here. Now, do you think Life is kind of panicking and trying to end it too quickly?
I think so. I absolutely think so. He's kind of just throwing himself, trying to reset the tank count again and keep applying pressure. And looks like he wants to get to the factories, perhaps, and he doesn't really want to try and deal with this 4th base, because no doubt there is a planetary at that 4th base. It's going to make it so hard to kind of DPS down before anything comes to help out.
Well, the Banshees fly in here to the 3rd base of Life, do pick off Queen as well, just kind of hurting him anywhere he possibly can. And ForGG's supply is getting kind of out of control here. He's up at 179, and again, as mech gets over 150 and towards 200 supply, it becomes almost unkillable.
It becomes a ridiculous death ball. I completely agree with you. And ForGG, no doubt, working towards that. Getting that +3 damage upgrade for his mech in air. And Vikings and Thors being added still. I like the kind of composition here. There's a lot of tanks already. And you wanna have a pretty well-rounded death ball at that max.
You know, right now we see Life continuing to pump out Hydras and Roaches and Vipers, which is good. It's good against mech, but do you think he should switch into something else here? Should he try maybe Swarm Host? Should he try Ultralisk? What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of think that this composition, this Roach Hydra composition, does get pretty redundant after a while. It's just too supply heavy, too cost inefficient. He should be maybe going for Swarm Host at this point, but he never really had like a clear, like a decent bank to kind of tech switch into during that harassment. And once again, the economics is just getting, the eco is just getting wiped out here.
Oh my god, 18 more drones going down. ForGG is just throwing these Hellions all over the map, dealing huge amounts of damage to Life. And Life seems to be on the ropes at the moment.
He's just really caught out of position time and time again. These Hellions are finding a way into the bases that it shouldn't. I mean, there's creep everywhere. He should be able to see these Hellions coming. And once again, tanks getting sieged up outside the third base of Life. And Life still with this army, this Roach Hydra army. I'm not sure if he can actually deal with this.
Well, I think Life is going to go extinct here pretty soon. If these siege tanks move up anymore, Moonglade, it's looking really fantastic right now. But Life decides he's going to go for a counterattack. He can't attack that main army head on. But can he kill this fourth base of ForGG?
I don't even think so. I mean, 2 tanks in position as well as a planetary. Hydra's kind of tanking. Thors and tanks never going to work out. They might get 1 Thor, but losing everything here. And the 6th base with a planetary also set up close to Life. It's a new staging point for ForGG at this point.
All right, well, right now we do have these tanks unsieged. He's moving forward, taking up a new position. A big flank going to be coming in here. The flank coming in from all sides almost, and it looks like, oh no, ForGG going to splatter this army.
Wow.
GG! ForGG moves on to the grand finals.
Absolutely unbelievable. I don't think anyone was expecting that, not even ForGG, but he made it work. Very convincingly. Great to see some good mech style.
Wow, absolutely fantastic play from the former StarCraft 1 champion, showing that he does have what it takes here at Dreamhack winner. In control, Apollo, what do you think of this? The story here has changed.
Apologies are owed. ForGG was going into that, and I mean, he was the underdog, I feel like, but after that series, what a treat! Amazing play! And he did it with mech, something that all the Terran enthusiasts pretty much say is not possible. And he did it against the best Zerg on the planet, or at least one of them.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that series there. ForGG, his style, I just really don't think that Life can deal with that. I think if they were to play again, it would be different, but to go into a series not really knowing exactly what to expect, having played so many Terrans recently and having played the regular bio, mine, hellbat kind of styles, how often have we seen Life play against mech? And not very often at all.
It really isn't.
One of Life's big wins was against MVP going mech. Remember that?
Yeah, but
way back in the day.
True.
That is 3 years ago.
Yeah, 2-3 years ago now. I mean, today's meta, we're always never seeing mech these days. I'm pretty sure ForGG is the only one that's done it in this tournament, that's for sure. So huge surprise for Life, I think. Really was not expecting it, I think.
What a win. Like, this is so very big for ForGG's career. This is so big. He's in a final for the first time since Dreamhack Valencia in 2012.
Wow.
And it's at Dreamhack Winter in 2014, a very difficult tournament of so many good players. And he's made it.
He's got possible Terrans coming up, or Life comes back up, in which case he's already beat him.
Yeah.
And then I want to see, I mean, if Life does make it out of that dogfight down there, and he gets that rematch, will he be able to overcome this? Because I do agree with you. I feel like the more time you spend with ForGG's very strange style, the better you'll be against it.
I think you're probably right. You definitely need a bit more experience against it to play optimally, but Life first has to get out of a ridiculous bottom bracket with Jakchi and Tasia waiting for him. So ForGG is sitting pretty right now. So let's go ahead, throw it up to Smix, and see what he's thinking now that he is in the grand finals of Dreamhack Winter 2014.
Thank you very much, Artosis. I can't wait to hear what is going through your head, ForGG. This is your first grand finals since Dreamhack Valencia 2012. Combined with your recent fantastic WCS news, is this the best week of your life?
Yeah, pretty good. I got a very good WCS news, and then I'm now final now, and yeah, very pretty good.
Well, ForGG, obviously you mentioned before you like to prepare your notes. You had a little piece of paper. What did you try to focus on when going up against the reigning StarCraft 2 champion? 원래 준비할 때 전략을 꾸준히 준비하는 타입인데 지금 블리즈컨 우승자 이승현 선수를 앞두고 어떻게 준비하셨나요? 뭐를 그렇게?
I just saw his VOD about BlizzCon yesterday night, and I see he's never make roach, so I just choose 5 game or mechanic play, and I think this is very good.
Well, in Game 4, it seemed like Life was slowly starting to adjust to your style. He came out with some early roaches. Did that make you nervous going into Game 5?
Yes, very nervous because one more win and then I will be go arrive final, so really nervous.
Well, you are in the grand finals now, so you don't have to be nervous about that part anymore. One last question for you. If Tasia is to beat Jack G, would you rather play Life because you just beat him, or would you rather play Tasia because your TVT is godlike?
I believe Tasia. He always want me Life. Okay, now he will can me if he will win against Jack G. I hope he come in final and he make me champion, I hope.
All right, well, congratulations again, ForGG, on making it to the grand finals. We will see who will join him and comes out of the lower bracket. Let's head back to the studio desk.
All right, thank you, Smix. Loving that interview.